In today's video, I am going to be breaking down Victor Wembanyama and how he is going to be the best rookie of all time. Let's get down, let's check him out, what he does extremely well that you can do yourself. Really quickly, if you want to be able to shoot the basketball better, make sure to go check out my shooting workout that is down in the description below. Okay, so every once in a while you have to pull up from deep range, especially if you are your team's star player or top player or just point guard in general. There's a ton of space between these two players, and that is a comfortable distance for Victor to be able to shoot. While you may say this is not a good shot because you haven't set up your offense yet, you're still early in the shot clock, whatever it may be, sometimes it's really good to be able to pull a deep point three because guess what? That is now going to stretch that defense out further so that now you have better attack and passing angles. And I really do want to point out how good his shooting form really is. His elbow, shoulder are both in line with the rim, and look at how well his fingers are spaced out, especially for a massive hand. That is really good. And then when he does shoot, he almost gets full extension, but he pulls back just a little bit. He has zero thumb flick, and we can see that he has somewhat of a hard release, but that kind of makes sense for somebody who's as tall as he is with the size of hands that he has. Now, a low to high post cut is normal for most players, so we're going to go through this quite easily. He's going to be able to get up to the high post. He receives that ball. He receives it nice and high, and then he brings it down to his waist. Personally, I would not be doing this. This would be a fantastic time to be able to poke that thing free. However, the defense doesn't do that. He then does a low rip through the arms of that defender, and by doing that, by getting his shoulders lower than his defender's shoulders, he now has the ability to get to that rim. Now, you may be saying, well, he only really gets to that rim and finishes successfully because he's just a massive alien. However, instead, what I'm looking at is the fact that he's getting his shoulder, left shoulder in front of the right shoulder of that defender. This right here gives him the angle to the basket. Makes it extremely hard to block, especially when you're as tall as he is. Now, this would normally be a layup for normal people off the backboard, very easy. However, for Victor, this is a dunk. You can see it really good right here where his shoulder is lower than his defenders. That gives him leverage into that player. After he gets that leverage, he's able to then cut that player off. We can see that right here. He's able to get his shoulder in front of the defender's shoulder, slightly a little bit of the elbow as well, and then keeps the ball high and, of course, dunks it. Now, obviously, you're probably not going to be able to dunk it, but if you can get it high off glass, it's going to set you up really well. Victor also knows how to use his length. Here, he's able to block a shot of a player. He gets a ton of blocks. He's probably going to be the all-time block leader once he retires. That's just going to be a given. The dude is super athletic and super tall. Now, this does help that he's super tall, but if you are tall in yourself, let's say you're taller than the other team, you need to do this as well. When your teammates are driving towards the rim and they go up for that layup, you need to crash those boards. You need to be hungry for those rebounds, and that is exactly what Victor is doing right here. He's able to get that tip slam quite easily. You might not be able to do the tip slam, but you could land with the ball and go back up, or you could do an alley-oop, whatever. Either way, crash the boards. It's going to be hugely beneficial to you. Now here, Wiggins does everything perfectly. He makes that contact first with Victor, clears Victor out of the way. Now, this is only because Victor is just really long. Victor's going to get a lot of blocks like that. This is why he's going to be Rookie of the Year. This is why he's going to be one of the best players of all time. He's athletic. He's tall. If he has any kind of length to his career, this is going to be massively beneficial. He's going to get a lot more blocks. Now, this is not something that you can do yourself, most likely. If you're a tall guy who can dunk, of course, this is something that you can do. Or if you're a point guard who has a tall guy on your team who can dunk, you can do this as well. One of the easiest ways to get assists is as soon as you draw this drop defender, you now have a wide open lob threat dunk. Guess what? That's going to happen the rest of his career. This is what's going to make him one of the best. I'm not glazing. This is just how it's going to be. Now here he's setting that screen. He's rolling off that screen. It's a nice roll. He's actually rolling quite quickly. This is something that players like Kai Soto don't do very well. However, they're learning. But if you are a center, you need to sprint off of that screen. Now watch how many dribbles he takes. He takes one dribble. That got him just a little bit closer so that he could dunk. Now, He gets away with this dribble because of his height. In my opinion, he shouldn't take the dribble. This could be your gather 1-2 and you go up. You don't necessarily need to take that dribble. While that would be technically 3 steps, most referees will probably just call it a gather. Also, the fact that he gets a good amount of assists. He's one of the assist leaders as a rookie, and that's easy because now, watch this. His teammates set that screen. You're getting a 1, maybe a 2, a 1-on-5 screen. This is the opposite of what it usually is. Usually it's the 1, the point guard, getting screened by the 5. Point guards or guards who are in screen and roll coverage don't necessarily know very well how to guard the screen and roll as a drop defender or even as a hedge man, whatever it may be. However they are looking to defend the screen and roll, they're not going to be very well versed because usually it's the 5 who is setting that screen, not the 1 or 2, which means that there's going to be a lot of openings when Victor runs as point, comes off of those screens. He's going to hit a lot of guards into that roll transition into that easy layup. That's going to happen throughout his career. Now, I'm going to break this down really quickly for younger players who are using a screen and roll. If you're doing a screen and roll, guess what? 1 dribble. After that 1 dribble past the screen, that is when you need to look to make that pass. Victor makes that pass right here, and it's a one-hand pass. Why is this important? Well, if we go back just a little bit right here, when he makes that look, if he picks that up with 2 hands, he's automatically dead. But if that pass isn't there, he could go into the attack. He could take that dribble yet again. Not many referees are going to be calling this a carry. Maybe if he kept his hand just a bit higher on the ball, it would be a little bit less of a carry. But just by doing those one-hand passes, if that pass all of a sudden disappears, then you can make that dribble once again. Oh, and by the way, when Victor is on the fast break, he is literally unstoppable if he goes down the middle of the key and he gets that lob pass. I don't think there's going to be anyone in the league who's stopping that. He also has really good footwork. Here, he takes that dribble, takes that step. That's when he spins off. He gathers the ball there on his left foot, just so that there's transparency as to if it's a travel or not. There's his first step. There's his second step. You're allowed 2 steps. And then he goes up with his left hand. That is an absolutely perfect spin move, and we need to learn how to do that. I hope that this video has helped you become a better player in basketball. Ideally, somebody who's tall, lanky, and skinny and fast like Victor, but either way, I hope these tips have helped you. If they have, hit that like button and subscribe, and I will see you guys again in my next video. If you want to shoot the basketball better, make sure to go check out my shooting workout that is down in the description below.